He made the world laugh without saying a single word. With a bowler hat, a tiny mustache, a bamboo cane, and oversized shoes, he created one of the most iconic characters in the history of entertainment. His name was Charlie Chaplin, and his story. Charlie Chaplin, and his story, it's one of poverty, genius, heartbreak, controversy, and immortal legacy. Today, we're diving deep into the life of the man behind The Little Tramp, from the slums of London to the golden hills of Hollywood and beyond. Charles Spencer Chaplin was born on April 16, 1889, in Walworth, South London, a gray, overcrowded neighborhood where poverty wasn't just common, it was inescapable. His mother, Hannah Hall, was a music hall singer and actress who performed under the stage name Lily Harley. His father, Charles Chaplin Sr., was also a music hall entertainer. On the surface, it sounded like a glamorous beginning, but the reality was far darker. Charlie's parents separated when he was just a baby. His father was largely absent and would later die of alcoholism at just 37 years old. His mother struggled to keep the family together, raising Charlie and his older brother Sidney largely on her own, but her mental health deteriorated severely. She suffered episodes of psychosis and was admitted to psychiatric institutions multiple times throughout Charlie's childhood. He would later say that the sadness of his childhood was always somewhere in the background of his comedy, that the laughter he gave the world was born from real pain. Despite everything, Charlie found his escape on the stage. He began performing as a child, joining a clog dancing troupe called the 8 Lancashire Lads at just 8 years old. By his teenage years, he was performing in legitimate theater and earning a reputation as a gifted comedic actor. In 1908, at the age of 19, he joined Fred Carnot's famous comedy company, one of the most respected slapstick troupes in Britain. It was here that he honed the physical comedy, the timing, the pathos that would define his career. In 1910, the Carnot Company toured the United States, and Charlie Chaplin fell in love with America. A film producer named Max Sennett spotted him and in 1913 offered him a contract with Keystone Studios. Charlie accepted, and Hollywood would never be the same. By 1914, he had created the character that would make him the most famous person on the planet, the Tramp, a lovable, bumbling, dignified, despite everything little fellow in a bowler hat and baggy pants. Within just a few years, Charlie Chaplin was not just a movie star, he was the movie star, the first true global celebrity. In 1918, he signed a contract worth $1 million, an unheard of sum at the time. He wasn't just performing anymore, he was writing, directing, and producing his own films, a level of creative control almost no one in Hollywood had. Charlie Chaplin's personal life was complicated, to say the least. He married 4 times, and his relationships were frequently controversial, particularly because of the young ages of his first wives. His first wife was Mildred Harris, a 16-year-old actress he married in 1918 when he was 29. The marriage was said to be sparked when Mildred believed she was pregnant. They had one son, Norman Spencer Chaplin, who tragically died just 3 days after birth in 1919. The couple divorced that same year. His second wife was Leda Gray, also 16 years old at the time of their marriage in 1924. Charlie was 35. They had 2 sons together, Charles Chaplin Jr. and Sidney Earl Chaplin. The marriage was unhappy and ended in a very public, scandalous divorce in 1927. Leda Gray's divorce proceedings were explosive, accusing Chaplin of multiple affairs. The tabloids had a field day. His third wife was Paulette Goddard, a beautiful actress whom he married secretly around 1936. She starred in two of his greatest films, Modern Times and The Great Dictator. Their marriage ended quietly in 1942. And then there was Oona. Oona O'Neill was the daughter of the legendary playwright Eugene O'Neill. When she met Charlie Chaplin in 1942, she was only 18. He was 54. Her father was so outraged by the relationship that he disowned her entirely and never spoke to her again. But this marriage, despite the age gap, was, by all accounts, deeply loving and enduring. Charlie and Oona had 8 children together: Geraldine, Michael, Josephine, Victoria, Eugene, Jane, Annette, and Christopher. They remained married until Charlie's death, 34 years. Oona Chaplin was described by friends and family as devoted, steady, and deeply in love with Charlie. She gave him the stable family life he had never known as a child. By the late 1940s, Charlie Chaplin's politics had made him dangerous enemies. He had long been suspected of communist sympathies. His films, particularly Modern Times and The Great Dictator, were openly critical of capitalism, fascism, and the powerful ruling over the poor. The FBI, under J. Edgar Hoover, had been building a file on him for decades. In 1952, at the age of 63, Charlie Chaplin boarded a ship to travel to London for the European premiere of his film Limelight. While he was at sea, the U.S. Attorney General revoked his re-entry permit. He was effectively exiled from the United States, the country that had made him rich and famous, without ever being charged with a crime. It was a profound betrayal for a man who had never sought citizenship there, but had called it home for over 40 years. Chaplin settled in Coursières-sur-Vivier, a small village in Switzerland, with Oona and their growing family. He lived there for the rest of his life. He returned to America just once more in 1972 to accept an Honorary Academy Award. It was one of the longest standing ovations in Oscar history. Now, let's hit some fascinating facts about the man himself. Fact number 1. Charlie Chaplin once entered a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest and came in 3rd place. He didn't even make it to the finals. Fact number 2. He composed the music for most of his films himself, including the timeless melody Smile, which was later covered by Michael Jackson and became a worldwide hit. Fact number 3. Albert Einstein and Charlie Chaplin were close friends. At the 1931 premiere of City Lights, Einstein attended as Chaplin's guest. When the crowds cheered, Chaplin reportedly said, "They cheer for me because they all understand me, and they cheer for you because no one understands you." Fact number 4. After his death, his coffin was actually stolen from his grave by grave robbers who demanded a ransom. His body was recovered 11 weeks later, and Oona had his grave encased in concrete so it could never happen again. Fact number 5. By some estimates, he is still one of the highest-earning deceased celebrities in the world, his image and films continuing to generate millions annually. Fact number 6. He was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 1975, just 2 years before his death, becoming Sir Charles Chaplin. In his final years, Charlie Chaplin's health slowly declined. He suffered a series of strokes that left him increasingly frail and unable to speak clearly. On Christmas morning, December 25, 1977, Charlie Chaplin passed away peacefully in his sleep at his home in Coursières-sur-Vivier, Switzerland. He was 88 years old. His beloved wife Oona was by his side. The cause of death was a stroke. The world mourned. Tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. Here was a man who had started life in the gutters of London and ended it as one of the most celebrated human beings who had ever lived. Oona Chaplin, devastated by the loss, never fully recovered. She passed away herself just 4 years later, in 1991, at the age of 66. Some say she died of a broken heart. So, what became of the Chaplin family? Charlie and Oona's 8 children grew up largely in Switzerland, and several went on to live extraordinary lives of their own.
Geraldine Chaplin, the eldest of Oona's children, became a celebrated actress in her own right. You might recognize her from films like Dr. Zhivago and Nashville. She has had a long and distinguished career and still acts today. Michael Chaplin also became an actor and writer, appearing in his final film, A Countess of Hong Kong, as a child. Josephine Chaplin was an actress who appeared in several European films in the 1970s. Jane Chaplin and Victoria Chaplin both pursued artistic careers, Victoria becoming particularly well known as a circus performer and creator. Eugene, Annette, and Christopher have lived more private lives. Charlie's grandchildren and great-grandchildren continue the family legacy. The Chaplin office, run by members of the family, works to preserve and protect his films, image, and legacy for future generations. The Chaplin family remains one of the most storied dynasties in entertainment history. Charlie Chaplin once said, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." He wasted very few days. From a workhouse in London to the grandest stages in Hollywood, from exile to a knighthood, Charlie Chaplin's life was as dramatic, as funny, and as heartbreaking as any film he ever made. He taught the world that you don't need words to connect.
That humanity, in its most universal form, is found in a stumble, a smile, and a little man who refuses to give up. And over 100 years later, we're still watching. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more incredible stories from history. Drop a comment. Who should we cover next?